We're going to work our way through these challenges assuming we're progressing an operator from combat rating 0 to 60 plus, but there will be timestamps down in the description for all of these. If you're looking for a specific challenge guide, you can just hop straight to it. Also, be sure to go check out my guide for all the campaign challenges when you're done here, and with that, we first need to talk about skills and how they're unlocked. Every operator has 3 available skill slots and an exotic skill, although we aren't really concerned with those. Every skill belongs to a specific track, and the final skill in most of these tracks are required for calling card challenges. We gain skills by leveling up our combat rating by playing Endgame with that operator, and they will be offered to us randomly. As you can see here, I've been given a choice of 2 skills, one for the Gunner track and one for the Berserker track. Once I choose one of these, a slot for this operator will be locked into that track, meaning we can't get all of the skills needed for all of the calling cards on one operator without resetting the operator by dying, or starting a new operator and hoping we randomly get the track we need. So with that in mind, let's get some calling cards, starting with Conductive Force, which requires the Shocking Reload skill under the Gunner track. We need to then defeat 25 enemies with shock damage. This can come from the Shocking Reload skill itself, which causes a shock blast around us whenever we reload, or from any other form of shock. As long as the kill is counted as a shock kill, it will count toward this calling card. For Up Close and Personal, which requires the Tackle skill under the Bulldozer track, we need to get 100 point-blank kills. This skill allows us to damage enemies by sliding, diving, or sprinting into them. Kills like this will count towards this challenge, but so will using our guns while close to the enemies, so just get 100 of these in order to complete this calling card. For Dive Bomber, which requires the Slide Explosion skill under the Daredevil track, we need to get 10 kills shortly after using our wingsuit. This skill causes our dives and slides to trigger explosions. This one's relatively easy as we can actually use our wingsuit and then dive into the ground near some enemies to trigger an explosion that stuns them momentarily, and then just get some easy kills while they're stunned. Rinse and repeat until this one unlocks. For Demolitions Specialist, which requires the Pinata skill under the Tactician track, we need to kill 5 enemies quickly with equipment 5 times. The Pinata skill causes dead enemies to randomly spawn a live piece of equipment, though we don't really even need this to trigger to get this done. So just head to an exfil in Zone 1, group up the enemies, and then blow them up with a piece of equipment. I'm specifically using the Needle Drone, and should note that you need an explosive piece of equipment to make this nice and easy. Once we clear the exfil, we can rinse and repeat at another if needed, instead of getting on the aircraft and exiting the game. And finally, for the skill-specific challenges, for Cratered we need the Fall Explosion skill under the Berserker track. This causes any large fall to create an explosion around us. We then need to use this skill to kill 25 enemies. I specifically came to this area in Zone 3 as a good amount of fears spawn here, and there's a billboard near the road that we can use to jump off of. However, using the grappling hook or kinetic jump is also a way to get this done. Now let's talk about some activity-specific challenges, starting with Cool If I Use This, which requires us to clear 15 command centers. To clear a command center, we need to enter the building by picking one of the locks, simply running up to the door and then holding the Interact button. But of course watch out for any enemies and trip mines in the area. Then somewhere inside the command center will be the commander who will be marked, and we just need to kill them. Doing this 15 times cumulatively will complete this calling card. For a cleanup crew, we need to clear 15 toxin fields. To clear a toxin field, we need to unlock the door to the building by interacting with it. Then inside we need to find a specific number of toxic flowers and shoot them to destroy them. Then finally defeat the elite enemy that spawns in. Doing this 15 times cumulatively will complete this calling card. For Recovery Op, we need to complete the data collection activity 3 times. Now this activity only spawns in around the halfway point of the match when Karma tells us that they shot down some guild drones, and there's only a couple of these activities available around the map per match. For this activity, we need to interact with the black box from the crashed drone, then defend the area from waves of guild enemies until the data is downloaded. Doing this 3 times cumulatively will unlock this calling card. For Wind Rider, we need to complete the Toxin Chase activity 3 times. This one's actually super simple. Just walk up to the red portal and interact with it. Then chase the red butterflies with your wingsuit. You'll likely complete these in under a few seconds each, and we just need to do 3 of them cumulatively to unlock this calling card. For what's in the box, we need to complete 5 surprise shipment activities. This requires us to approach the shipping container, which will then break open and be full of enemies. Defeat the enemies inside, and the job's done. This is another one that will only take a couple seconds per activity, and we need to do this 5 times cumulatively to unlock this calling card. And finally, for the basic activities, completing 15 of any of the activities in a single match will unlock us the Staying Active calling card. Now let's break things up a bit with our first Dark Ops challenge of the video. For monkeying around, we need to complete a parkour and a diving challenge course. These are specific secret challenge courses with multiple dotted around the map. However, I'll be showing you one of each, starting with the parkour course on the rooftops of Clifftown in Zone 1. The diving course can be found south of Coastal Security near the border between Zone 3 and Zone 4. Now for some Zone 4 specific challenges, starting with Finders Keepers, which requires us to open caches in Zone 4. An easy way to get this done is to run into guild checkpoints with active camo and just open the cache in the checkpoint. There's usually like 3 to 5 of these checkpoints in Zone 4 at a given time, so if we just run in between those we can grab some, and we can also go to the roadside salvage activities and essentially do the same thing. But this will also complete the activity as well, netting us some XP. We should be able to get around 10 caches per match doing this method, and we need to open 50 in total for this calling card. Our next Dark Ops is Pest Control, which requires us to defeat the final boss of Endgame. The boss can be found in the southernmost toxin field in Zone 4, and will want to be a pretty high level at this point, or let others in the lobby do most of the work here. When we first arrive, we'll need to run around the area and destroy the toxic flowers to fill up the meter on the left-hand side of the screen as more and more enemies spawn in. Once at 100%, the final boss will spawn in, and there isn't really much to him, he's just a bullet sponge, so lay into him until he's defeated. Make sure to collect your exotic gun at the end of this fight, and then interact with the boss's body to confirm the kill and automatically escape. Additionally, if we do this with an operator that is combat rating 60+, we'll also unlock the maxed out calling card. Now, since we grabbed our first exotic from defeating the endgame final boss, let's talk about the Dark Ops exotic arsenal, which requires us to get a kill with 6 different exotics. At release, there are only 6 exotics to find. However, with Season 1's release, this calling card seems to be bugged for most, and there's no clear fix as of right now. But an exotic weapon is guaranteed to drop from the final boss, or there's a small chance of it dropping from completing most of the activities and assignment types in Zone 4. These are the 2 reliable ways to get an exotic gun, and we can only carry 1 exotic gun at a time. So when this is working correctly, we'll want to find these exotic guns and use them to get some kills, each to unlock this calling card. Alright, a little rapid fire here for a number of challenges. So in Zone 4, there's a specific HVT elimination assignment that always spawns here and is probably the easiest in the game. All we need to do is head a little north from the starting point to a church and kill the target inside of the church to complete the assignment. Then if we hang out by the starting point, this same assignment will spawn back in after a minute or 2, and we can rinse and repeat. This is a good strategy to unlock the No Walk in the Park calling card, which requires us to complete 15 assignments in Zone 4. If we use an exotic weapon to eliminate the assignment target, we can unlock the Rare Drop calling card, which requires us to defeat 20 special or elite enemies in Zone 4 with exotic weapons. And this same strategy is specifically great for Perfect Run, which requires us to use a 60+ rated operator to complete 3 Zone 4 assignments and then defeat the final boss without going down in the same match. So just complete the HVT assignment 3 times, then go defeat the final boss as we did for the Pest Control Dark Ops calling card. For Force of 1, we need to clear a command center in Zone 4 solo without any help from anyone else in the lobby. I'd recommend doing this after hitting rating 60+ with an exotic weapon, and to do it immediately at the start of an endgame match. We want to come to this command center in the northern part of Zone 4, land on the roof, and unlock the door while using active camo. Then head downstairs and defeat the commander inside the center before any other players get anywhere close. Basically, if anyone in the lobby comes to this area and even just shoots 1 bullet, this challenge will be voided, so speed is key here. Next is the Dream Team Dark Ops, which requires us to escape from Zone 4 25 times. Escaping from Zone 4 includes defeating the final boss and escaping through his body, as we did for the Pest Control Challenge, or simply using the exfil in Zone 4. Do either of these for a combined 25 matches, and this will unlock. Also, while we're spending all of this time in Zone 4, we should eventually unlock the Zone 4 Eradicator calling card for defeating 1,000 enemies in Zone 4. Season 1 introduced 4 new Dark Ops challenges, so starting with Predator Becomes Prey, we need to get hunted by the guild and defeat all the hunters to unlock this. To actually trigger the hunted activity, our squad needs to do a bunch of activities in at least Zone 3, and even still, this seems to be a bit RNG. I've played plenty of matches down to the last minutes doing so much and never getting hunted, while in this clip we managed to trigger it in only around 15 minutes. So the hunted activity itself sends an enemy VTOL and some strong enemies after our squad. We need to destroy the VTOL and defeat all of the hunter enemies, who are pretty tough. On top of that, the hunters only stick around for 5 minutes, so we're also against the clock. The enemies are pretty standard, just bullet sponges that we need to lay into. However, to easily deal with the VTOL, use a grappling hook or kinetic jump to get on top of the VTOL, and then use our melee weapon to destroy it. This also causes it to kind of bug out and fly around erratically, so be sure to move around on top of it to not fall off. With all of them defeated, the calling card will be ours. Season 1 also introduced 2 new world events. The first is the Colossus, and for its related Dark Ops, we need to defeat it and escape through its head. A world event should spawn in around 5 to 10 minutes into a match, and specifically for the Colossus, we want to head to the purple marker on the map and defeat the waves of enemies around the portal to fill up the progress bar. Then, clear the area as a giant red circle will appear showing where the Colossus will land. After it lands, we need to shoot the bottom of its feet as it walks along to break them open and reveal a portal that we can then enter to get inside of the giant robot.
Accessing reactor chamber. Reloading.
Inside of here, there's kind of 3 different roles that we can take on. The first and most obvious is to just focus on clearing out enemies as they spawn in. However, to actually progress in this fight, we need to attack the core hanging in the center of the room and covered by a shield. To bring down the shield, we need to stand on these red pads, which there are multiple of in the room, and these will send out power to various red lights around the room. When those lights turn on, we then need to shoot them. I'm showing gameplay of me doing both in 2 separate fights just so you can see what needs to be done in each of the roles. When the shield goes down though, we're going to lay into the core. Once it's at half health, the shield will come back up and we'll start the process over again. After defeating it, jump into the portal where the core used to be and interact with the console to escape and unlock this Dark Ops calling card.
CAD unit launching in. 10.
The other world event introduced in Season 1 is the Z-Rex, and its related Dark Ops challenge requires us to ride the Z-Rex. So like the Colossus, this can spawn in around 5 to 10 minutes into a match, and we'll want to head to the purple marker on the map. Once here, we need to focus on defeating the elite enemies around the area, who will drop these crystals that we need to pick up and deposit into the portals around the area. Doing this will close these portals, and once all of the portals have been closed, the Z-Rex will spawn in. To ride the Z-Rex, we want to hang out near its tail and wait for it to stop moving. It will then do a tail attack that it winds up for. As it winds up, run toward the tail, and the attack will then launch us into the air, and we want to look at the Z-Rex as we come back down and hold the interact button to try to ride it. The interaction is pretty specific and easy to miss, so it'll probably take a couple of tries, but once on its back we'll pull out our knife and can start attacking it. It'll eventually throw us off, but with that, this Dark Ops calling card will be unlocked. For the Dark Ops Overpowered, we need to gain 1 million power in Endgame. Now luckily, the power is the XP in Endgame, and we basically gain it for doing anything in the game. I just wanted to take this time to point out that if you are playing on an operator that is already max level, at the end of each game you will not see a power rating, basically the amount of power that you gained in that game, but it is still being tracked somewhere in the background, so you are always gaining power towards this Dark Ops. Eventually you will get to 1 million power, and this one will pop. And finally, the last Dark Ops challenge introduced with Season 1, unfortunately, as of the making of this video, is still a mystery. However, I will make a follow-up video once this one is figured out, and we'll link it in the pinned comment. So make sure to subscribe for when that video comes out, and thanks for checking out this one.